Welcome to Across the Whoniverse, a Doctor Who marathon podcast. I'm your friendly neighborhood Time Lord Chels.
And I'm your Muppet of a Time Lord Paige.
And y'all, we've made it to the Series 1 finale, and we have a new companion for this episode. This companion makes me feel genuinely 84,000 years old in this moment right now. Anna,
Yes.
introduce yourself to everybody because you are so young. You're young enough for the Doctor to come and steal.
Yeah, I did make the joke when I turned 20 or right before I turned 20 that he had like 2 days left to come steal me. But hi, I'm Anna, or online I go by Thelocalgoblin. I am a Doctor Who fan. I draw a bit.
More than a bit, I would say.
More than a bit. A
Amazing
bit
artist.
Thank you. I'm struggling to find time at the moment, but I draw a bit. I have a lot of thoughts about Doctor Who and other shows occasionally, but yeah, I don't really know what else there is to say about this. Yeah, no, I am 20, which is why Chels and Paige are going to feel very old about this. I'm also British, which feels quite rare on this podcast.
It does, but don't worry. We're going to have a second British person next season, and maybe even a third.
We're adding them
Wait,
slowly.
am I the first Brit?
I think you are. I'm like
Yeah.
running through
Wow.
the calendar of guests, and I'm like, yep.
It's
Wow.
about time.
Ooh.
I guess
Yeah,
so. We
it
will
only
let
took
y'all
you to the
colonize
last-
this podcast now.
Yeah.
I was going to say the last episode of the series, and you finally got a Brit on here.
It only
Well done.
felt right.
It only felt right.
Anna, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your history with Doctor Who? Because you just told us you were born the year that this reboot premiered. Like,
So yeah,
what's it like being young?
I think I'm actually younger than. Oh yeah, it said it aired in June 2005, and I was only born in December 2005. So yeah, I have a bit of a weird story with Doctor Who because I really didn't watch a lot of television growing up, for various reasons. Not because I didn't have access to it. I was very easily scared. Had a lot of issues with secondhand embarrassment with shows. So I watched as a kid, and I was able to work out recently what episode it was. One episode of Doctor Who when I was at a family friend's wedding. We were staying with some other family friends, and they put on an episode of Doctor Who, which turns out was one of the Zygon episodes from season 9. I was about 9 or 10 maybe when this was happening. And I will say I was scared enough that I didn't watch another episode for 10 years, but I will give myself the Zygons. I will say compared to other things I was scared of as a kid, shape-shifting aliens where you don't know if you're speaking to a human or like a Zygon.
I mean, that's pretty
that
scary.
One.
Like, you still might not know.
I understand that one, but no, I didn't watch it for a while, and then when I was about 16, I started really getting into it. I'd always sort of flirted around the edges. Like, it's everywhere here. Like, it's such a big institutional thing that like I was aware of Doctor Who, and I'd flirted around the edges of like lots of interests that kind of intersect. Or, I was friends with a lot of people who were big Doctor Who fans because I was friends with a lot of nerds or, that sort of thing. And they just happened to like things I like, but also like Doctor Who. And I started getting into it. I think I watched Doctor Who in a very weird order, and I still do. I didn't really watch it in order at all. But I will say I did watch season 1 very early. So this episode in particular, I watched very early. I hadn't watched it in a few years. Yeah, I started with a lot of River's episodes, because I decided I really liked River, and then kind of expanded out
That's
from
Paige's
there.
wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, legally married.
Yeah, a valid opinion for that one. She's still one of my favorite characters, but I kind of expanded out from there and just keeping expanding out. And eventually I'll get around to classic and a couple episodes I've missed. But yeah, And then I found the extended universe as well. So there's just so much that I can keep going through, and I don't do any of it in a reasonable order at all. But yeah,
And
that's
that's
pretty much the
okay because
history
the
of it.
Doctor doesn't do anything in a reasonable order at all.
Exactly. It's all a
Yes.
bit timey-wimey. It works all right.
Perfect. And where can people find you on social media or all of your art? Because I want people to see it. It's wonderful.
Thank you. So I'm on most social media platforms. The ones I use most frequently are Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr, which are basically all, I think they're basically all the local goblin, but with a zero instead of an O. If it might just be the local goblin on Tumblr. I don't know. The username is occasionally taken. Um, but yeah, that's on Instagram, for example, it's the local goblin, but the goblin has a zero. So yeah.
Perfect. We will link that in the show notes on social medias. Everyone, check it out. But y'all, today we are here to talk about Series 1, Episode 13, The Parting of the Ways. Written by Russell T. Davies, directed by Joe Aaron. It aired on the 18th of June, 2005, and this features the Ninth Doctor, Rose Tyler, Captain Jack Harkness, Jackie Tyler, my girl, my queen, Lynda with a Y, Moss, Mickey Smith, the Dalek Emperor, and it introduces this little guy named David Tennant. Never heard of him after this. So sorry.
Looks like an actual baby in this.
Like a toddler. And it's set
Yeah.
on the game station in the year of 200,010, aka just Satellite 5, and then London 2006. Because you know what? Jackie Tyler is not traipsing across space and time. We would never do that to her.
Yet.
Yet. But y'all, do you remember the first time y'all watched this episode? Because I think I do, and it just emotionally devastates me now to this point because I'm so sad that we only have like these episodes of the Ninth Doctor. Like Christopher Eccleston, I needed more of you, babes. I know you were being terrorized on set, but still, I needed more of you.
Yeah, I know I watched this a few years ago. I think it was quite early for me. I watched most of season one very early. Because I vaguely did that in the right order mostly. Um, and I do remember really, really liking this episode. And I remember I do really like Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor. He never makes it onto like I don't really have a favorite Doctor. I have like maybe a top three if I'm having to pick. Um, and Christopher Eccleston never.
We'll force you to pick later, so cook on that.
Okay. Christopher Eccleston never really makes it on there, but like then I watch a series one episode and I'm like, why? Why not? Because like genuinely I just really, really like his portrayal of the Doctor. Um, I just I really like it. He's got such a, especially when so much of the lore is kind of built afterwards in regards to sort of his trauma and things. I think watching back the episodes now, it's even like more remarkable how he manages to portray that when the actual stuff is built afterwards, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But no, I think it was a few years ago. Um, I remember sort of my reaction to certain bits of the episode. I remember my reaction at the time to no spoilers, but some things to do with Jack, for example.
And then let me just read this TARDIS wiki synopsis because there's a lot going on in this episode. My notes are longer than normal, so buckle up. The Daleks are leading an attack on the game station. Rose is trapped with the Dalek Emperor, and once rescued, the Doctor sends her away from harm. The Ninth Doctor knows he must make big sacrifices if he's going to defeat the Dalek horde. Jack Harkness is assembling an army to keep the Daleks at bay until the Doctor can save them all and the Earth from the Daleks. These TARDIS wiki synopses, sometimes they're so oddly worded. Rose is away from the fight and desperate to return. Her actions will change everything and unleash the bad wolf. Paige, how long did it take you to figure out what the hell bad wolf meant?
More than I would like to admit.
It is such a vague, like, idea that is so not really explained, but we all just accept because it's easier to accept things than to understand them. Much like religion or
Especially,
something.
Yes, especially like back in the day when I watched this for the first time, I was like, okay, is Bad Wolf going to be a continuous thing in this show and like become a bigger thing? But it doesn't, you know?
Only for Russell's time.
Yeah.
Anna, what did you think of this whole Bad Wolf thing that is painted across all the first series and then culminates in this episode, sort of?
I like it. I do really like it when a season or series has like a tie together. I am a rare season six defender, because I just really like it when that's the sort of case. But I think maybe the finale for this series kind of ties it all together better than maybe season six does. Um, but no, I do like the Bad Wolf thing, and um, I think it probably took me a little too long to work it out as well. Although I like kind of knew what it was. I knew it was a thing because it's like one of those things that's so synonymous with Doctor Who that like I had heard of it. But I think it took me a little bit too long to work out as well.
Yeah, same. It took me more time than I care to admit, more watches than I care to admit to figure it out. And you know what? That is just my problem. It is on me and my simple mind. But maybe I was just overthinking it, is what I tell myself. Maybe I was putting too much thought into something, and we should just accept things as they are. Sometimes science is easy. But no, we should just dive into this because so much is happening. The last episode left on the cliffhanger of Rose in the Dalek spaceship fleet, blah, blah, blah. We pick up where we left off on Bad Wolf, where Rose is trapped on the Dalek ship and the Doctor is vowing to rescue her. Love this. The Daleks are demanding Rose predict what the Doctor is going to do, but she doesn't know, and even if she did, she wouldn't tell them. The Daleks suddenly detect the TARDIS flying towards them, and you know what? We're just going to launch some missiles at the TARDIS. That's what they're going to do. Rose shouts that the TARDIS doesn't have any defenses and it'll kill the Doctor, to which the Daleks say she has predicted correctly. I don't know why, but that little bit really like delighted me in a way that the Daleks were one step ahead of Rose in that. It's like, no, predict, what's going on?
I also really liked that it kind of follows on a little bit from Dalek, where Rose kind of didn't immediately launch to the worst conclusion with the Dalek. And she doesn't hear
Yeah.
in that she doesn't think immediately that they're going to kill the Doctor. Um, Whereas obviously the Doctor immediately jumps to everyone's gonna die as soon as he sees an eye stalk.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked that little tidbit.
The Doctor is a little bit more realistic and is like, nope, the Nazis are going to kill you. Rose is like, let's just see what happens.
She's very hopeful.
She is hopeful, but also, I don't know if you can fix the Nazis.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do think I just side with the Doctor a little too much, cynically. But you know what? These cartoon-like missiles, they hit the TARDIS, but Jack says the extrapolator that they stole from the Slitheen created a force field around the TARDIS. Okay, I'm fine with that science. The Doctor then materializes the TARDIS on the Dalek ship around Rose and the single Dalek guarding her. Jack shoots the Dalek, and the Doctor and Rose hug. Outside the TARDIS, the Daleks are just like surrounding it, ready to fire. And I thought this was very silly, Billy. I want more of these video game effects on Doctor Who. The Doctor examines the Dalek remains while Rose questions how they're still alive when they're supposed to be extinct. Jack says one minute they were the greatest threat to the universe, and the next they vanished out of space and time. And the Doctor tells Jack about the Time War, which Jack just thinks is a legend because Jack is not a true believer. But the Doctor was there and his people were destroyed, but you know what? He took the Daleks with him. It was supposed to be worth it. I thought it was going to be worth it, man. But with the Daleks surviving, the Doctor says his people died for nothing. Rose asks what they're going to do since they could barely beat one of them way back in Dalek and even then today. But the Doctor puts on a happy face and is ready to go greet their evil neighbors. Y'all, this is where I love Eccleston because he's like, you see the worry and fury on his face about these Daleks, but then he puts on a happy face for Rose and it's like, let's just go do this. I love him.
I love that.
I know, he's like,
Yeah,
oh, damn, I destroyed all my people for nothing, but you know what? Let me put a smile on for this girl. He's got it bad for her.
he does.
They exit the TARDIS and the Daleks immediately fire upon them, but Jack's little force field Slitheen thing protects them.
Can I just point out that the like little nil pois he mentions here was one of my favorite like little references for the entire episode. It's like, of course we're doing that. Of course we're getting like, I don't know if it's technically a Eurovision mention, but it feels like a Eurovision mention, which feels exactly the right level of camp for Doctor Who. Although obviously they've tried that recently.
Yeah,
To
you know
interesting
what?
levels of success.
Eurovision's made personal choices that are not great lately.
Yeah. Let's not go there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably not. Eurovision being more like the Daleks these days. But y'all,
Mm.
I am deeply tickled because the doctor's like, yeah, this force field, it can protect us from anything. And then Jack, in front of the Daleks, is like, well, almost anything. And the doctor has to be like, I wasn't going to tell him that. And you know what, y'all? A cis white man would fucking reveal critical information to the enemy as like they're trying to look tough and strong. Jack is an idiot. I will say it. I don't think he's
Yes.
as great as people say.
Well,
And I kept forgetting he was in this episode. Like until he'd pop up, I'd be like, oh yeah, Jack's there.
I I forgot about his outfit because I don't know, for me, Jack
Yeah.
kind of just has like the big coat. I think, is this the only time we see him without the big coat?
I
It might be.
Maybe, but
Um,
also I have facial blindness when it comes to certain generic looking
that's
people, and
fair.
I do forget
Well,
things very easily.
I forgot about the leather waistcoat. I forgot, like, he was giving Butch realness in this episode. Everyone calls Ninth Doctor at Butch. And then you look at Jack's outfit in this, and you're going, oh, you
Well,
got
here's
both
the
of them.
thing. Jack was getting outbutched by the Ninth Doctor, and you know what? I
Yeah,
get it.
Mm.
The
that is
Doc
true. That
Martens,
is
the
true.
Docs, the leather jacket, I get it.
The Ninth Doctor just dresses like me and 50% of the people I know on a regular occurrence.
Yeah, he's saying, let's go, lesbians, let's go.
Yeah, I just need to shave my head for the cosplay.
But you know what, y'all? One thing I love about the Doctor is Jack, even after revealing critical information that the shield might not actually protect them the whole damn time, I'm gonna taunt these Daleks. I'm gonna remind them that I'm the oncoming storm, and deep in their DNA, you may have been genetically altered, but that little twinge, you're afraid of me. And I love that. He's like, no, you guys are scared of me. You need to tell me how you survived the Time War. Go for it, Anna. You got thoughts.
So this is one of my favorite. Um, I also just want to say quickly, Jack revealing critical information feels so out of character considering he's literally a con man, and you think like he'd know what to reveal and what not to reveal to someone,
You would
especially if
think.
he's trying to con them into believing that they're stronger than he actually is. Um, but my favorite little tidbit is when they throw in references to, especially in series one, because there's no previous um, New Who to work off, throw in references to expanded universe 90s Doctor Who,
Yeah.
or
The wilderness
and
years. We're
the
back.
wilderness years. And the oncoming storm was actually first mentioned in Love and War, which is a Viennese book, also Bunny Summerfield's first appearance. And it's mentioned in a few others, but it actually comes from the books. So you can thank Paul Cornell for that one, rather than it's not actually from the TV show at all.
We get a few little references back to like
Yeah.
her stuff in this first series, which I'm like, you know what? Maybe we need that spinoff and not the fish spinoff, is what I'm going to say. Maybe that one.
Oh my God, the tone. If we ever get a Bunny Summerfield TV episode, I will
I will be
be
able to hear
there.
you like
Uh,
squealing from across the ocean,
you should have heard.
from 6 time zones
You should have.
away.
Well, considering the squeal I let off, and this is going to be slightly off topic, when they brought Faye Truscott back for the comic this year, I like the reaction I'd have if they ever made a Benny episode would be quite impressive. But no, it's I really like it when they just put in like little references, especially this early on, to things.
Just
Um,
sprinkle it
and
in.
everyone just kind of thinks everyone just doesn't really realize where it comes from. It's just quite cool.
No, I love that.
But I love it when Eccleston gets all taunty.
This is why we have guests
Yeah.
like you here to educate everybody.
Oh no. I'm just a little bit too nerdy about this all. But
No,
I don't
that's
know,
why you're
like
here.
Eccleston almost feels like slightly McCoy in this bit for me, where he like gets like he's doing the whole jolly jolly act, and then
Mm-hmm.
he like gets suddenly like, oh, they actually call me the oncoming storm, and you're terrified of me, and
Mm-hmm.
remember that. But I really like it. I like it with Matt Smith as well. When
Yeah.
I love it when the Doctor can pull, and I wish it happened more with Ncuti Gatwa, when the Doctor goes from the sort of jolly, happy, performing aspect and goes, actually, I'm going to drop all of those masks now, and this is actually like, hold up, you should be scared of me, and here's why.
Yeah. We got a little bit with Ncuti, but it was in an episode
A
where
little bit.
it didn't entirely pan out well. But yes, I
Yeah.
do love this here because the Doctor is like, how did you survive the Time War? And we hear the voice of the Dalek Emperor, and he's like, you know what? I survived. My ship fell through time. And then it kind of like has this great reveal of him. And he does look like a Power Rangers villain meets a Transformer in his little Dalek armor, and he's
Transformer.
floating in his tank. And you know what? I kind of love him. I kind of want that as a toy.
He's kind of iconic.
I mean, he slays.
Yeah.
He is iconic. I completely forgotten that that was what the Dalek Emperor looked like. So that
It
was a
looks
nice
really
jump scare
cool.
to get. And my first thought was Transformer. So yeah, I'm with you on
Yeah.
that.
I love it. I was thinking like Rita Repulsa armor from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as a transformer. That's really what I was getting to.
I also wrote biblically accurate angel
That is true.
because the shape is giving me that. Yeah.
Which makes
A
sense
little bit.
because
I
you
see
know
that.
what? This Dalek Emperor, let's just say he got a little too close to humanity because he's monologuing
hmm
that we waited in the dark space to rebuild over centuries and we infiltrated the systems of Earth. We harvested the waste of humanity, aka prisoners, refugees, the dispossessed, and converted their genetic material into Daleks, which is super gross. Honestly, that sounds disgusting. And Rose speculates that the Daleks are half human, and the Daleks just shout blasphemy and that everything human has been purged. And I do like this very specific religious wording because the Doctor questions the Daleks, like, how did they gain some concept of blasphemy? And the Dalek Emperor declares himself a god as he reached into the dirt and made new life. The Daleks start chanting, worship him. And this is how myself and the Doctor know they gained a little too much humanity because where me and Paige are from, there'd be a lot of people like this all the time, like declaring themselves very godlike in the Bible Belt of the United States and making their own weird
Ah,
offshoots
yes.
of religion. The Doctor says they hate their own existence, but that makes them more deadly than ever, and they return to the TARDIS as the Daleks attempt to exterminate them. Y'all, the Daleks found Jesus, and it's a little much. This is truly giving like the cult Christianity.
It really is.
I I do like the religious aspect that they
Hmm.
played up here. I'd kind of forgotten about it a bit.
Oh, I
Um,
completely forgot about it. Like, and I rewatched this a
and
year and a half ago. Wow.
it was nice to like see in it. Because it feels like it's not subtle at all, but it's done in a way that you
Hmm.
like notice it, you note it down for later, but the
Yeah.
dialogue's good enough that you'd go, oh yeah, it's because they've attached a little bit too much of humanity to themselves
And
rather
religion
than
is not
going,
supposed to be subtle.
we're shoehorning. No. It's not like they're it's more like they've chosen religion as an example of how to show that they've gotten attached a bit too much to humanity rather than going, okay, how can we show this thing about religion, if that makes sense. And I just
Exactly.
think it's really well done.
Hmm.
um
But y'all, things are about to get wild because the Doctor returns to the game station, aka Satellite 5, with Lynda with a Y and those programmers who were totally flirting in the previous episode. There aren't enough shuttles to evacuate everyone, so 100 people are stranded on the floor with like the weakest link. And Lynda with a Y, she wasn't going to leave the Doctor anyways, which I really like Lynda with a Y. You know what? It kills me that Rose's weakest link opponent is just asking for his prize money in the middle of this emergency, like it's giving the people who evacuated the Titanic asking if there's a first class section on the lifeboats. This man is a little too accurate.
Very that.
this is like the most accurate thing I can possibly imagine. I can fully see this happening. Just it made me giggle a bit.
Oh, absolutely. I fully could see him on the Titanic being like, I'm first class, y'all. Look out. Where's my
Can
money?
we also talk about how Lynda with a Y was like, I'm not going to leave you, doctor? And Rose gave her like the dirtiest look.
Rose is so jealous.
Yeah.
If you've never come into close, I'm very, very familiar with that look. That look is like the year 9 girl, like the British high school, like bitchy, like the full like glance up and down, like just fully like,
Mm-hmm.
who do you think you are? Why are you coming in here? And I saw her give it that, and I had to just like laugh because it was just
It is so funny, especially
it's
as we've
so
seen
good.
Rose flirt
She's
across
so
space and
jealous.
time, like have her weird
Yeah,
situationships with Mickey and
it's
Jack
most
and Adam and like every pit
Adam.
stop.
It's mostly been like the other way round with like Nine pretending that he's not particularly jealous. Um, and now it's very funny to see it come back on Rose. Um,
And you know what? You reap what you sow. But you know what, y'all? The programmers, they're actually working right now. I do like these two programmers who I'm not even sure if they got names. They say the Dalek fleet is moving upon them, so the doctor jumps into action and does some science to the control panel, and he's going to create a delta wave that'll fry the Daleks. Normally, it takes like 3 days to make one of these, but with the doctor's smarts, they got like 22 minutes to do this, so I believe in the doctor. 3 days worth of work in 22 minutes? Sure. Jack, the two programmers, and Lynda with a Y go to rally the troops on the weakest link floor, but not before Lynda awkwardly thanks the doctor for the opportunity, and Rose is so jealous. Jack also kisses Rose and the doctor goodbye and tells the doctor he was much better off as a coward. Rose asks the doctor if Jack is going to be all right, but he doesn't respond.
right. The as you two did you guys watch this episode when it came out?
It probably would have been a couple years after because I discovered
Yeah.
Doctor Who. It was
Okay.
playing in like a used DVD TV store, and then like I must find these seasons, so I ended up getting Martha's season first, and then going back and getting the rest.
It would have been like 2008 for me.
I was gonna say good one to start with, but
Yeah.
okay, but still quite early. So
Yeah.
obviously I know like culturally and I know like from growing up like how big of a moment that probably was, but I didn't watch it
Oh,
early enough.
yeah.
So what would you say about like Jack kissing the doctor here? Because it's very casually done.
Oh, huge, huge.
Um, but it's
Yes.
like such a big thing. Um,
It is
and I
very
mean
fair
obviously
to
Jack's
say that only a couple TV shows, and they were usually the US daytime soap operas, were actually going there with queer characters, or if
hmm,
it was on like the premium
Mhm.
cable shows where they were, you could do a little bit more, but you really couldn't
yeah,
see anything on regular TV. It had to be the premium channels like an HBO that you paid for, or a daytime soap opera, which I could literally, don't get me off on a tangent, but I could literally
yeah.
tell you point for point every single first daytime same sex kiss. And right
That
now, only
does.
We've
All My Children and eventually One Life to Live were having same sex kisses. Other shows, they were just way too scared to go there.
It does stand out for me when I think about like watching this episode for the first time because you're so right in that we did not see this very often at all. And especially how young I was when I watched it. It was probably one of the few like same-sex kisses I saw on TV.
mm,
And this was about the time I was watching The L Word, but again, that was a premium channel, and you get the DVD and then you hide the DVD because I'm watching it and I'm in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I know in the UK we'd had a few things. I think Brookside was the big one in the
Hmm.
90s. Um, but I think just in general, like to have that and it's so casually done. And I mean, like it's been established previously that Jack's bisexual, or
Yeah.
well, I feel like him kissing the doctor, especially, is such a big thing. Um,
It really is because for all the crimes of John Barrowman, which we do remind people we do not condone his
yes,
behavior, we do pretend sometimes a different actor was in the role, to have an openly queer actor.
we can say that with a couple people in this episode.
Exactly. To have an openly queer actor being able to very casually be queer in a TV show at that time was a huge deal because language was very different back then. This is the same time Brokeback Mountain was coming out and people were boycotting it. And like Heath Ledger was just like going around on a press tour, like trying to basically preach tolerance.
Brokeback Mountain's that old?
Brokeback Mountain came out in 2005.
Blimey.
I know,
Ooh.
it's crazy. But no, Jack is a very radical character for this time, even though John Barrowman under the jail.
Also, I don't blame Jack in this instance where he's like, we might all die, so let's just all kiss.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Get a good kiss on the way
So
out.
true.
You know what? Get 2 good ones just to be safe.
Yeah.
You know what? It makes the I've yet to make it all the way through Torchwood yet, but that bit in Torchwood, which I have seen clips of, where they're like, "Oh, it's the end of the world. Let's all have sex." It makes it so much funnier.
Yeah.
It makes sense as an adult.
Yeah, it does.
But you know what? Jack is also busy downstairs, but not the fun kind. He's explaining the situation to the volunteers, but like also shooting off a gun to get people's attention. Roderick, the person who is doing Weakest Link with Rose, he's saying the Daleks aren't real, but Jack tells them to be quiet then, and if you're not going to volunteer, just shut up. If you hear us fighting and dying above, then tell us the Daleks aren't real. This Roderick guy is too real to words. Like, oh my gosh. Wow. But back with the Doctor and Rose, Rose asks why they can't return to last week and warn them about the Daleks, and the Doctor explains that once the TARDIS lands, he becomes part of the events and he's stuck in the timeline, basically telling the audience this is why we can't just go do a simple thing. The Doctor explains that they could just leave, but Rose knows he'd never do it, and the Doctor's like, well, maybe if you asked, and he's like, never even occurred to you, because Rose is a good person at heart. And they hear the Delta Wave building, and they see that it needs a lot more time to cook. But then the Doctor remembers something Rose said and tells her she's a genius. They can take the TARDIS back, crossing his own timeline to give them more time to create the Delta Wave, is basically what he's implying to Rose. He drags her onto the TARDIS, tells her to press a button and stay there as he runs back outside to power up the control room. But you know what, y'all? The Doctor lies. He points a sonic at the ship and forces it to dematerialize with Rose on board. She tries to run out, but the Doctor locked the doors, and a hologram pops up on the console saying that if she sees this message playing, that they must be in fatal danger. The Doctor's either dead or about to die any second, with no chance of escape, and he promised to look after her. The TARDIS is taking her back home, and the TARDIS won't return to him for fear that it would fall into the wrong hands, or in this case, the Daleks' little tentacles. Imagine the Daleks' little tentacles all over a TARDIS console.
So cute.
It would be so funny. But no, I do love that the Doctor lies. And you know what?
Yeah.
I too would lie to save somebody I loved. Like, no, I made a promise to Jackie Tyler, and she's scarier than a Dalek. She will come after me if I don't get you home safe.
You know what? Jackie Tyler is more scary than a Dalek.
She is.
She
is, and that's why we love her.
We do. I feel like it's very hard not to like Jackie Tyler, to be fair.
If you don't like Jackie, you're probably not our friend.
Maybe. But no, I like how he does it as well. He's just so like, oh, let's go into the TARDIS. Let's go. You're so right. Actually, I lied. And I'm now gonna die.
And I want you to let the TARDIS die and gather dust and go on to live a great life. That's what he's saying to her. And you know what?
Although he's a bit naive. He's a bit naive thinking she's going to listen.
He is. Because you know what? Rose Tyler is a bad bitch. She's a hot girl. Rose Tyler's not going to listen to a man? No.
Never.
And you know what? We are plagued with another man because Mickey has heard the engines coming home in 2006 and runs straight towards her. And him and Rose do hug. I do like that she has some emotional comfort, but then Mickey is kind of insufferable the rest of this episode. And toxic boyfriends, we just got to get rid of them.
He just wandering around, or was he like just happened to be in that area? Like, where was he?
Is he always just hanging out around there hoping she'll come back?
To be fair, doesn't he live there?
He lives nearby, yeah.
Well, if he lives on the estate, then I mean, I think it's like my thing is, how loud is the TARDIS noise and why doesn't everyone else kind of...
Yeah, nobody else.
If you hear a noise that loud, you look out your windows, you decide to go mow the you decide to go mop the grass. Do you know what I mean? He
Yeah, I don't
decides
know.
that like to go do some stupid chore that's not actually a chore just to see
And
what
he
the
lives
hell's going
near the
on.
Powell estate,
Um,
is the impression I got.
yeah.
So I'm like, I wonder if he's just hanging out nearby hoping she'll come back.
I do feel kind of bad for him in this episode. I feel kind of bad for him in this episode because Rose, like, there's some lines in here where I'm like, okay, yeah, he is annoying the hell out of me, but also, girl, you really went there? Okay, damn. There's
Yeah.
nothing here for you? Like,
I mean, she's a woman on a mission. She's gonna save the world. But you know what, y'all? The game station, there's a lot happening. Jack is asking Rose for the codes, but the doctor's like, oh yeah, I sent her home, and Jack wonders if the Delta Wave is ever going to be ready. Then, next thing you know, the Dalek Emperor cuts in on her transmission and is just needling the doctor, saying the Delta Wave could be ready, but there's no guarantee of like refining it. It'll just fry all the living things in its path with no distinction of humans and Daleks alike. So the Time War PTSD is kicking in as the doctor has to decide whether or not to just genocide two more species for the greater good. Jack isn't phased though, since Rose is home safe, and he's like, I believe in the doctor. And meanwhile, the doctor's like, do I kill all of humanity and the Daleks again? Am I gonna just do this again and hopefully the Daleks won't survive this time? I love that he's having that while Jack is just like, we got this, girl.
I do think Jack's a bit too trusting in this episode,
A little bit.
considering you'd think he'd like notice there's some shit going on a little bit quicker, really, considering he's made the living out of tricking people.
You would think, but it does feel like the Doctor is conning Jack at this point. The Doctor then questions the Dalek Emperor about Bad Wolf being spread across time and space, drawing him in, and what it all means and how he managed it, but the Dalek Emperor denies having anything to do with it, but the Doctor doesn't believe him until the Dalek Emperor says, it's not part of my design, and this is the truth of God. And he looks up, and the Doctor then looks above the monitor where the Dalek Emperor is being projected onto, and he sees the Bad Wolf Corporation sign. This is when we cut back to 2006 with Mickey and Jackie just taking Rose out to lunch. And our girl is so disassociating, thinking about the doctor probably dying, while they're like, here, Rose, eat some fish and chips. But then Rose gets a little too real, maybe a little mean. He is dying and there's nothing I can do. Jackie tells her, well, 200,000 years is a really long way off, but for Rose, it's right now. And he's fighting for this whole planet while they eat chips. Jackie tells her she usually hates that man, but right now she loves him because he did the right thing and sent Rose back to her. Rose asks what she's supposed to do. Just get up every day, go to work, come back home, eat chips, and go to bed. And Mickey is a little abrasive in this scene. I will say, Mickey does start the fight because he's like, well, it's what the rest of us do. And Rose is like, I can't do that. And Mickey, the little bitch, he's like, well, you better than us. And Rose is like, easily getting misunderstood. She's trying to explain that the doctor showed her a different way of living that was better for her. It wasn't just traveling and seeing cool things and stuff, but it was like standing up, having the guts to do the right thing. And then she boot scoots out of the shop because she's like, you know what? I got to keep doing the right thing.
I think there's some really nice like commentary in here, in general, around, I don't want to say class in general, but in terms of like sort of attitudes,
Mm-hmm.
especially like if you move out of your hometown or if you go off and do something and you, I don't know, you like build a career. Um, like even going
Yeah.
off to uni, like I've had the, oh, are you better than us?
Yep.
Thing going on. Um,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
think it's a nice sort of like little commentary there about that. But yeah, Mickey's just slightly.
He's a little defensive because it is the like, oh, you're better than us because you went to college or you went out and did something cool. And it's like, no, I'm a different person than what I was before, and I can't just go back to this whenever I've been basically fighting injustice in the galaxy.
Yeah. It's also the slightly jealous because oh, do you think you're better than us because the Doctor actually likes you? Whereas the
Mhm.
Doctor's very, very like rubs up against Mickey the wrong way.
Yeah, well, the last time the Doctor and Mickey met up, that it was
Yeah.
on not as great of terms because Mickey was, with his last
Mm.
girlfriend, but the doctor was going to invite Mickey in the episode before with the Slitheen, and Mickey's like, no, just tell her that I'm not invited. Like, so this
Yeah,
is a
that's
little on
true.
Mickey. He's a
Yeah,
little too afraid to leave his hometown at this point.
the little bit.
And
Yeah.
they need to realize that her life is never going to be the same, even if
No.
she like never saw the doctor again,
No.
didn't travel in the TARDIS again. The stuff that she saw and the stuff that she participated in, like that's going to change her fundamentally.
In about 20 years, Kate Stewart is going to be ringing that phone, going, "Oh, you met this man once? Hello. How do you feel the
Yes.
job at UNIT?"
Ugh. But you know what, y'all? So much is going down. Like, we have the small cutaway of Jack giving Lynda instructions on how to guard the door when the Dalek fleet arrives. And those little tin cans, I love seeing them zoom through space. They are just like Tokyo drifting through the
It's so
every single.
silly.
It is so silly. You could bring back those 2005 visual effects, though, and I would not have a single problem. I
No, it's
prefer
fine.
it to things looking like the Avengers.
Well, yeah, I saw a side by side of the first scene in the last scene from RTD2 recently, and I went, "Oh, this is really a good example of why we
Mhm.
don't need big budget CGI." Yeah, bring back the little floating Daleks. That'd be
It'd be so
that'd be right.
fun.
Yeah.
But y'all, let's get back to Earth because Mickey has chased Rose outside at this point, and he's like, she can't spend the rest of her life thinking about the doctor, and she needs to start living her own life and forget him. A proper life that the doctor's never had. One she could have with Mickey, though. This is where I hate Mickey because he's just being a jealous asshole. And Rose is just fully tuning him out. Whenever she's looking at like the chalk writing on the ground and she notices it says Bad Wolf, and it's like real big, so it took her a while to see this. Rose, get your prescription checked. And then she starts looking around, and Bad Wolf is graffitied everywhere. And Mickey's like, so what? It's been there for years. But Rose realizes it's not a warning, but a message. It's linking her in 2006 to the Doctor 200,000 years in the future. And she's running off to the TARDIS. And when her and Mickey get there, she's trying to explain that the TARDIS is alive and telepathic. And you know what? Maybe we should just open the console like we did with the Slitheen, because if you look into the heart of the TARDIS, maybe we can contact the doctor. And nobody remind Rose that the last time somebody looked into the heart of the TARDIS, they turned into an egg. Nobody tell her that, okay?
No one talks about that.
Nobody does. Rose is a little too she's locked in, y'all. There's no telling her what to do. She's like, there's nothing here for me on Earth. And Mickey is hurt. This is the part where Rose maybe unlock a little bit, be a little bit more aware of what you're saying to people. Because yes, Mickey is being gross because he just wants to date Rose. But to say that Mickey and like Jackie and are nothing, the things that are there on Earth, I get. I do get it. But you know what? Mickey, even though he's hurt, he sets it aside and he's like, let's just open up this thing. He hooks a chain to the console and to his little tiny car, hoping to break the TARDIS console, but it's not moving. The chain, like, low-key just, like, almost breaks the car in a way. It's very funny. It's like a little Hot Wheel almost.
It was very funny. Can I say that the scene in like the playground or whatever the all the concrete is, it really reminded me of how good season one is or series one is at being so British. It's so grey. It's it's so grey. Whereas I feel like it feels very, very British and it feels very, very grounded. And I miss that massively
We
about
miss real
especially season one.
sets. We miss
Yeah.
real
One, real
locations.
sets. And two, the amount of grey concrete everywhere is so accurate. It's like if it's a sunny day, the entirety of the UK looks lovely. If it's not a sunny day, it's just grey.
It's so
And they
real.
captured that feeling very well.
So, y'all, that's happening on Earth, but back on the game station, Jack is giving orders as like the Daleks approach. The Daleks easily kill the first line of defense. All those people who volunteered are shouting through the comms that Jack lied about them being like all the effectiveness of the bullets, they don't work. The Daleks easily vaporize them. We saw this happen in the Dalek episode earlier this season. I do love that the Daleks stumble upon Android from the weakest link and she eliminates them, but eventually one just swoops on in, and before Anne can say you're the weakest link, it blows her head off. I thought that was very silly. Maybe they should have rewired Android for this instance. Lynda, though, she's monitoring all of this from her little guard room, trying to be safe, and she's horrified because the Daleks are going up the ventilation shaft, and instead of going to floor 496, they go to floor 000. They exterminate everyone there, and it is like a horror film. Roderick is screaming that he's a winner and that Daleks don't exist as he's being exterminated. This is so true. People will deny something even if it's in front of them. But you know what? Back on Earth, Jackie's trying to comfort Rose, saying the doctor wanted her to be safe, but she doesn't want to give up. Rose says that her dad, Pete, wouldn't give up, but Jackie says he's not there, and even if he was, he'd say the same. And Rose tells her that he wouldn't, though, and he would want her to try anything because she met him. Jackie thinks she's being ridiculous, but Rose tells her how she met him and how there was a blonde girl who held his hand as he died. And Jackie is so upset and shouts for her to stop it, and she just runs out of the TARDIS. Jackie's not hearing this because it's a little traumatizing to hear about your husband's death and that, whoops, your daughter time traveled back to be there for her.
That is kind of a wild time for Rose to say that. And I know everything was like rushed and emotions were heightened, but just to be like, yeah, I was there the day Dad died actually, and I didn't tell you about it.
This is the part where Rose is kind of just being a jerk this episode and lashing out on everybody.
Oh yeah, no, this one was like, I'd forgotten that this happened. And yeah, I feel quite bad for Jackie in this one because
I really do. She's trying her best. She just wants her daughter to be safe.
But her daughter's going on a suicide mission for this thing. And then also going, oh, by the way, let me just bring up some of your most traumatic memories whilst you're trying so hard to be okay with this.
And she's only bringing it up to prove her mom wrong.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But you know what? Let's go back to space where things are going to get bleak. Lynda tells the doctor that the Dalek fleet is bombing Earth, with whole continents gone now. The Dalek Emperor says this is heaven on Earth, which is a little chilling when you watch it. Down with Jack, he's saying the bullets should work if you concentrate on the Dalek's eye, but they have the force field at maximum. Things aren't working out great. The programmers are flirting and making plans to get a drink if they survive, but it's not great. Things are very bleak up there. But you know what? Have no fear. Rose and Mickey, they're still back on Earth 200,000 years earlier. And Mickey just suddenly has a change of tune out of nowhere. And he doesn't want Rose to give up. He probably has realized that she's stubborn, like Jackie Tyler, and never going to give up. And they just need something stronger than his car. And that is when Jackie shows up with a heavy-duty rig that they can use until 6 p.m. Jackie rolling up there is maybe one of the gayest things I've ever seen.
Such a diva.
I was going to say, I think this is possibly my favorite part of the episode. And I also think this is one of the most iconic things in Doctor Who ever. Like, she's just a camp icon.
She really is. She's
it's so
who's
good.
Her friend that she's borrowing this from? She's like, gotta have it back by 6. Her friend. And you know what? Jackie deserves all the hot friends.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. She's like, yes, you're right. Your dad was full of mad ideas, and that's exactly what he would have done. Here's the keys. I'm out of here. I like that she just leaves them. She's like, I cannot do this. Jackie Tyler needs a drink right now, honestly.
Also, does Rose even have her driving license?
We wonder.
Like, she's a 19-year-old in London.
I don't think she has a car, so maybe not.
And we've not seen her driving. And like statistically,
she's
London
also very
is, like,
low income.
one of the places in the UK. Yeah, it's one of the places in the UK you really don't need to drive. So if you don't like need to, you wouldn't like she gets on the bus to work as well. So
she definitely can't. Mickey does though. Mickey has a tiny little car.
Yeah, Mickey does.
They should have had a scene of her just like smashing into things on the street because she can't drive.
Where's the bonus like webisode of Jackie Tyler in the big rig?
Beautiful.
Just let her go. Let her have
that.
fun. Jackie Tyler in the Fast and the Furious.
Oh my god.
Her just like smashing things on the street and then going and getting a margarita. She's like, see you guys.
But you know what? Back on the game station, the Daleks have made it to Jack's floor, and while they managed to take out one of the tin cans, the the rest of them they're easily overpowered. Like all of Jack's troops, his army of weakest link contestants and production crew, I guess. Down goes our flirting programmers. Lynda reports that the Daleks have located her hidden away in her little room. And this, I get so sad because I love Lynda with Hawaii. The doctor says that the Daleks shouldn't be able to get inside her little hiding spot, but we see a little Dalek with a little flame laser cutting through the door, and we are freaking out because we think that's gonna be what takes her. Tragically, it's the least of her worries because the Daleks are outside her window and shoot through the glass, and she is killed by the vacuum of space, with the doctor listening to her death. I am gonna pour one out for Lynda with Hawaii because she's one of those many characters who would have been a great companion in any other timeline.
That was so sad. She was so sweet.
She's all right. Yeah.
I like her. It's okay. She ends up on EastEnders and goes through a lot of shit there.
Yeah.
A lot of shit.
Yeah, that normally tends to happen if you go on EastEnders.
And I love it.
No, I like her. She's not my favorite of the almost companions, but I don't mind her. No.
Ooh, we should do an almost companions episode. Paige, write that down.
Oh, absolutely. Top 10 almost companions.
Yes.
Oh, yes. But you know what? Back on Earth, Mickey manages to open the console with this big rig, and Rose stares into the heart of the TARDIS. The door's shut, and it just dematerializes off of Earth and goes back to the station. She just fully abandons Mickey. But to be fair, as it's like flying forward in time, she's absorbing the heart of the TARDIS. It's not really Rose anymore at this point. And as this is happening, she's absorbing and going through time. We see Jack cornered by the Daleks and exterminated just as the Doctor has the Delta Wave ready. And it does feel like this whole middle part where it's mostly Rose, Mickey, Jackie, Jack, it does feel very Doctor Light in the middle of the episode. I do wish there was more Doctor. Make this a longer episode. It's fine. Not for Christopher Eccleston. He probably would have hated it. But guess what, y'all? The Daleks descend upon the Doctor in the control room and tells the Dalek Emperor to really think about this decision because every living creature dies if he activates the Delta Wave. The Dalek Emperor declares himself immortal and wants to see the Doctor become like him, the great exterminator. And you gotta prove yourself, Doctor. What are you, a coward or a killer? The Doctor chooses coward, though, and can't activate the Delta Wave. The Dalek says mankind will be harvested, and when the Doctor asks if he'll become one of his angels... But you know what? The Dalek Emperor is not interested in the angels. He's like, you're a heathen. I'm going to exterminate you. And the Doctor really just accepts his fate. But then the TARDIS starts materializing behind him. Y'all, this sequence is so much is happening.
There's really a lot.
I don't know. What would you do? Would you Delta Wave and kill every living thing and double genocide? Or would you be like the Doctor and be a coward?
I think if I had I'd like to think I'd be a coward in anyways, but I think especially if I had the Ninth Doctor's history, I'd definitely choose that.
It's tough, especially you're backed into a corner, and I don't know. Paige, would you be a coward or would you Delta Wave?
That is a really tough call, and I feel like that's like obviously something the Doctor faces all the time. That's kind of just a constant conundrum for them. So
it's the PTSD.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what I would do, honestly, because I am a bit of a coward if I were in a situation like that. So
it's a real game time decision if we're going to get sporty about it. I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. I don't think I could hit the button. It's a lot. But it's okay because Rose Tyler arrived just in time because that's how TV works and I love it. The doors of the TARDIS open and light is just flooding out. And then Rose exits. She is glowing, y'all. Her glow up was insane. And she explains that she looked into the heart of the TARDIS, but it looked into her as well. The Doctor says nobody's supposed to look into the time vortex because Rose is so basically roided up on time vortex power. She easily stops these Daleks from shooting her when the Dalek Emperor calls her an abomination. She explains she's the bad wolf she created herself and scattered the words across all of time and space to lead herself to that very moment. The Doctor is just freaking out right now because the time vortex running through her means she's gonna burn to death, y'all. It's gonna fry her mind. She wants the Doctor, her doctor to be safe from the false god. She can see the whole of space and time and uses her little superpowers to disintegrate the Daleks into little atoms with a wave of her hand. She turns them all to dust and says everything dies and the time war ends. The Dalek Emperor tries to resist, but she easily turns him and his little spaceship into dust. Y'all, what do we think of superpower Avenger Rose Tyler? Like, she is on a power trip right now.
This scene is so eerie, honestly, because you don't know what she's going to do and like what kind of power that has over her.
Yeah, because it's clearly not Rose. It's just a greater power that's can easily snap somebody into dust.
I'd love to see a short story of Rose's inner monologue at this point, or well, I guess maybe Bad Wolf. It would be really interesting. It's such an iconic scene, though, isn't it?
It really is, because nobody's really immortal.
No.
It's crazy, but y'all, guess what? They won the war. And the doctor tells Rose to let go, but this time Vortex Bad Wolf Rose is unwilling to let go and brings Jack back to life in the other room. And guess what? She controls life and death now. The doctor tells her the power is going to kill her, but guess what? She can see everything, all that is, all that was, and all that ever could be. But then Rose is in immense pain, and we get the cheesiest line of, I think you need a doctor, because the doctor is also like, I can also see everything. This is the cheesiest part, and guess what? He says that, he kisses her and absorbs the energy himself. Rose passes out, and the doctor releases the energy back into the Tardis. Jack runs back to the control room, only for the Tardis to dematerialize without him. Good riddance, honestly. What did you think of Power Trip Rose? All it took was a kiss to get the time vortex energy out of her, and the doctor just like blowing that energy back in the TARDIS. Like blowing.
I don't know about all that.
There's quite a lot. There's a lot to unpack here. Well, first of all, the bringing Jack back to life is really a case of this action will have consequences. Like,
Yeah.
imagine if she hadn't done that. I do like that she genuinely thinks she's helping. And I guess in some way she is, but she's not really thinking about the consequences.
Yeah, time vortex Rose.
The you need a doctor line. I like to think that, okay, cool, he did David Tennant. He turned into David Tennant for Rose. Okay, cool. The I think you need a doctor line is just predicting Martha Jones. In my head,
Oh,
it's just
Martha,
like I need a
still
doctor
my
more
heart.
like you do. Like
It's so cheesy, y'all.
it's so cheesy. It is.
I feel like if it wasn't Christopher Eccleston with his normal gruffy self saying that with pure delight, I would not buy it as much as normal. Like if you had like David Tennant saying that, or even Matt Smith, I would like have to pause the TV and take a lap. I couldn't.
What is Doctor Who if you don't have one incredibly cringeworthy line per episode?
So true.
Honestly.
The kiss is a whole thing, though, really. Like,
it's one of those, technically Rose has kissed multiple doctors, but not as herself. So
yeah.
Has she actually kissed any of the doctors?
It's also like a really weird way for them to like, I guess the concept of true love's kiss is a well-known principle, but
yeah, but also sometimes it feels like they're doing the romance for the sake of romance because RTD loves romance.
Yeah.
I was watching it and went, huh, I'm sure. Are you sure this is the only way? Are you sure this is the only way to get it out?
It feels too easy.
I feel like they could have crafted it. Yeah. And I know they were trying to get Eccleston out of there, but still. I feel like there's a smoother way to do that, to make it make sense.
It felt like they were just like, oh, well, we haven't shown the Doctor and Rose kissing yet, and people are probably expecting this because they've had this like back and forth, and we need to like throw it in real fast.
But y'all, as they travel through the time vortex, Rose does wake up and asks what happened. The doctor jokes that he sang the Daleks a song and they ran away before he notices his hand glowing and his face just falls. He talks about taking her to the planet Barcelona, and perhaps he will, but not as he is now. And Rose tells him he's not making any damn sense as he's like trying to cheer her up. And then, you know what? His body does convulse with this regeneration energy, and he starts explaining that he absorbed the energy of the time vortex, and nobody's meant to do that. And of all of his cells are dying. And she's like, can you do anything about it? And he's like, yeah, I'm doing that right now. And let me explain the process of regeneration. It's my way of cheating death, but he's going to change, and this face is not going to see her again. And before he goes, he just wants to tell her, you were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And you know what? So was I. He tells her all of this with a big grin before regeneration energy takes over his body, and he turns into David Tennant. Rose is shocked and confused as our new incarnation asks, where was I? And he checks out his teeth and then happily remembers Barcelona. Then we just smash to credits, y'all. Let's go through this because this regeneration is pretty new. It is a new thing for the new era because Russell did want to redefine what regeneration looked like. What'd y'all think of this regeneration from Eccleston to Tennant?
I really like the speech. I also like it's so like not groundbreaking, that's not the right word, but it's so like important in like setting it up for future doctors. If you know what I mean, because they all have their sort of speech. And yeah, it's just so well done. I do really like it. The 2005 CGI did take me out a little bit, but
Smidge.
it, just a smidge. But yeah, I do like it. I do kind of wish we got more time with Eccleston, as much as
Yeah.
the guy himself would have hated it. It feels it
Yeah.
feels like a very, very good week for us to be filming this one,
It's
us to be
timely
recording
for
this podcast.
sure.
It is
Yeah.
timely. Christopher Eccleston, you were right, buddy.
Well done.
You just had to wait 20 some odd years.
He was just a bit like out of time.
Exactly. I do like this speech because it is explaining to the audience this is probably their first regeneration for a lot of people, explaining what's going to go on, that it's going to be a different face. And I do like that the whole you were fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And you know what? So was I. I like that he gives himself his flowers because the doctor is a little full of themselves, like across every incarnation.
Oh yeah.
And then, y'all, I do like that it's just a fountain of light just coming through the doctor's body. I like that it's a big visual moment more than anything else. I will say, David Tennant looks like a toddler. He is so young, and I know it's been 20 some odd years, but it is so weird to see him so baby faced.
Oh my gosh, it's so weird.
He looks so young in this. I always thought that John Barrowman in season one in general just looks so young as well. So both of them, compared to especially like the season four finale, look like
Mm-hmm.
entirely different people. But no, David Tennant looks so young.
He looks like a baby. It's so silly. I like that Rose is just shocked and confused, and then this new doctor, he's checking out his teeth, which becomes an annoying thing in like a bunch of seasons. But then he just remembers Barcelona and he is grinning as we smash to credits. So, y'all, that is our finale. And we have a bunch of listener questions. We have some fun notes. My favorite thing is, I'm going to miss how Eccleston was credited as Doctor Who for the whole first series.
Yes. 'Cause we brought that up on the last episode with our friend Jesse, who notoriously did not know anything about Doctor Who. And he was like, he's credited as Doctor Who. Do people call him that?
Jesse did ask if Doctor Who was his name, and I'm like, technically he's credited as that. I mean, it's not his name.
I was going to say, did Capaldi ever get credited as Doctor Who? Because I feel like he would have really wanted to.
No, from this episode forward, it's all just the Doctor.
Wow. I do like it.
So y'all, we have so many listener questions. So we will get to them. Let's start with Gavin. Gavin, my Q Division co-host, also previous guest on this series and next series. If Christopher Eccleston hadn't left the show, how do you think that would have impacted the direction of Series 2? Do you think Piper would have wanted to leave as well? Could you imagine Series 2 with Christopher Eccleston?
That's a good question, Gavin.
Blimey.
I can imagine the Christmas invasion.
Yeah.
Jackie Tyler Christmas tree attack.
Can you imagine Christopher Eccleston meeting Sarah Jane Smith?
Oh,
That would have been amazing.
just that, you just know the look on his face would have just broke our hearts.
Yeah.
Oh, Christopher Eccleston up with Anthony Head. Rest in peace, babes. There are so many things I would like to see, like even the Cat Nuns. I would have really enjoyed that.
Yes.
Oh, I'd love to see a return of the bitch off with Cassandra.
Oh
That would
my
have been
gosh, they have unfinished
yeah.
very
bitches.
fun.
Yes. I
Yeah.
think he would have been able to pull off most of the episodes, although from my memories, we are going to do a little series 2 preview at some point before we start it. I remember series 2 being more of like almost like a rom-com where it implies the Doctor and Rose are dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really I've been going through season 2 a lot more recently, and it's not my favorite season. And it's very heavy on the rom-com element.
Mm-hmm.
Although I can absolutely see Tooth and Claw 9 pissing off Queen Victoria. I
Oh
can see
yeah.
that happening.
I could also see
Absolutely.
him having a nice little moment with the girl in the fireplace. I think that would be sweet.
Yeah.
Maybe I just like Eccleston a lot as an actor because I've enjoyed him in other things, other movies and TV shows so much more. I just have a deep fondness for the man.
Girl in the Fireplace would be really interesting considering he's a lot less, I don't know. He doesn't necessarily jump to flirting in the way that
Yes.
sort of
Mhm.
Ted does.
Yeah, 10 is a bit more of a slut, a flirt. Slut complimentary. I support people being
A floozy.
a floozy. Jackie would call him a floozy or a
That'd be
hussy.
very interesting.
Yeah.
But I can see him doing the horse bits.
Very well. Would Piper have wanted to leave as well? I would say yeah, probably 2 seasons of a very
I think
intense
so.
show with a very
Yeah.
chaotic behind the scenes where things were always running late, sets were not always safe, people were behaving very poorly. Yeah, I could see her
Mhm.
wanting to go because she also had things going on in her personal life, and we needed Secret Diary of a Call Girl. The culture needed that. I also really
We did.
needed Martha Jones personally. Like Martha Jones, Be
Yeah.
Still My Heart.
We all did Martha Jones. I love Martha. I've yet to see Secret Diary of a Cool Girl.
It's for hot girls. It's for bad bitches. Yes. Maybe
It's
we'll
so
do that
good.
as an excursion episode.
I'll add it to a list.
That'd be fun.
It'll be great. And then a question, probably specifically for me, because I don't know y'all's history with James Bond. Gavin, you kill me. And so, yes, this is from the Q Division podcast. Gavin, my co host. I do the Q Division, a James Bond movie marathon podcast where I'm watching the James Bond movies for the first time in order. My co host Gavin has seen them all. He's asking, which of the official Eon Bonds would have made the best 10th Doctor? Sean Connery, George Lazenby, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, who is a Time Lord, Pierce Brosnan, or Daniel Craig? To be fair, I have not seen any of the Pierce Brosnan or Daniel Craig movies yet. We've not got there in the Q Division. My answer for everything. Does anybody have any opinions on these James Bonds, or do you just like not care?
I have not seen a single James Bond.
And I'm never going to do that to you, Paige.
And I appreciate that. So my knowledge is just of like some of these actors in other roles.
So you
I
mean
could
Mamma
answer
Mia?
based on that.
You mean Mamma
Yeah,
Mia?
Mamma Mia. So like Pierce Brosnan, he can flirt.
That's true. Anna, do you have any experience with James Bond? It's okay to be like, no.
Very little. I might have seen the odd one. I've definitely seen clips. But yeah, not massive. I'm shocked that one of them is Rassilon though. I did not realize. I just Googled him. It's like,
Here's the thing. I liked one of his movies and I hated one of his movies. So I don't think Timothy Dalton would be a good doctor. I think he's cast perfectly, though,
it's
within
Rassilon.
Doctor Who. In terms of just James Bond as the Doctor, I think Roger Moore, because he's the most fun and playful, but he can still do all the stuff. If we're factoring in outside work, Daniel Craig as the Knives Out guy, I think would be a fun Doctor. Like that,
Oh, that's so true.
version of Daniel Craig, Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah.
But otherwise, none of them, especially not Sean Connery. No. George Lazenby, goodness, no. Baby girl could not act. Pierce Brosnan, you're too, I don't know, beautiful. You're I don't know what is going on there. Just go do other things, Pierce Brosnan. I feel like you would be so confused trying to say any of the Doctor Who science. You're too pretty for that.
Now that you say Daniel Craig is out, that's like the perfect answer.
Oh yeah, it's like either Roger Moore or Daniel Craig. Roger Moore is a hot girly. He's having fun. He has a sense of humor. But let's bring in some other questions from future guest of the show, Hamish Steele. One of their questions.
This episode, two-parter, introduces and then kills off Lynda with a Y, teased as the next companion. Which other characters in the show do you think should have become companions who didn't?
Ooh, this is fun. Who else should have been a companion but didn't? I'm gonna stick to series 1 because it's the best I can remember right now. And I'm gonna say Jabe from the End of the World episode 2. She's the tree person. I thought she was very fun and had a great dynamic with Christopher Eccleston. She would have been a good companion.
Yes.
She
was really
I like the
cool.
concept. I also would have loved them to have non-human companions right from the jump.
Yes.
In season 1, that would have been really, really cool, because that's one of my pet peeves with New Who, the TV show, compared to especially like the comics and stuff, and parts of the EU that I really like, where there's a lot more variety. I do like Joe. For me, I mean, I don't know about, was this for season 1 specifically,
No,
or
we're
just in
gonna
general?
expand it out to whoever.
I mean, the classics are, your Sally Sparrows. I would have loved to see Sally Sparrow as a companion, especially with Martha. I think those two could have played off each other very, very well. I don't think Sally would have let him, given her half the shit he gave her.
Exactly. Martha needed a friend in the TARDIS.
Also, I really quite like Rita in the God Complex.
Ooh, yes.
I really like her. She feels, I mean, she's also one of the very obvious almost companions. But she just felt very competent, and she's not like afraid to give it back to the Doctor a bit. So I liked it.
Oh yeah.
Probably them.
And I'm like trying to think of other people. Like the obvious more recent one is Anita from the Christmas special, because she low-key was a companion that episode. Sorry, Nicola.
Yeah.
You did not have nearly enough to do. But also, like, whatever Nicola Coughlin's doing, just show up in Doctor Who more, because I love you. Like, that's fine if we're just casting off actors we like. But yes, my top tier for me is Jabe. She was cool, and I'm so sad she died.
I am also struggling to think, because I'm trying to think of like other seasons.
Paige, name a season. Name a person.
Name any season. I am like thinking, because
I know
love
who
my
the worst
creatures.
companion would be. Like
Who?
James
Who?
Corden?
Oh, obviously.
Oh no, his character in the Lodger and it's not horrific. And fun fact, actually, linking back to Mickey particularly, did you know the Lodger's based off a Ted and Mickey comic? Like
I did know that.
a
I read
9-page
that somewhere.
I didn't know that.
It might have been me.
Oh wait, I do have a response.
really like
I do know who should be. It's oh gosh, what are their names? It's Ada Lovelace from Spyfall, and the other one, the spy from World War II. She was a real person.
Is it cheating if I say Mary Shelley, even though she kind of is in the
I mean, not
She's
cheating.
technically an 8th Doctor.
That is true.
It's not cheating.
Madame Vastra and Jenny just like going on a whole bunch of different adventures with the Doctor.
I would have just loved to have just had a spin-off with those three, low-key.
Yeah.
The dream. So yeah, Madame Vastra, Jenny, Ada Lovelace, we've got Mary Shelley, and then I would say what's her name? Nora Enyate Khan, the spy lady from World War II. I think they would be great companions.
Yeah.
I'd have liked Lorna Bucket from Good Man Goes to War.
Oh, yes.
But I don't know if she's more effective because she dies.
I don't know. Here's the thing. Women. That's who we want. Women and creatures.
Women and little guy creatures.
And more historical companions. Please, more historical companions.
Yes, more historical companions. That's why I picked those.
That too, yeah.
I know Jodie Whittaker picked Pating as her favorite creature. I think it'd be hilarious if the 13th Doctor managed to tame a Pating. I think it'd be hilarious. Let her have one in the TARDIS.
And
That'd be so funny.
It'd be so funny.
Yaz would just be stood off to the side contemplating all of her decision makings that came to this point being her life.
You just know Yaz would be the one taking care of the thing, just like throwing little bomb grenades in its mouth every half hour.
Yeah.
All right, here's Hamish's next question.
Hello, this is Hamish again. This is my third question. And this episode has the first regeneration in New Who. And I got into Doctor Who fully knowing about regeneration. And I think a lot of people are aware that there's multiple actors. But what was your first reaction to regeneration? Did you know it was coming? Did you understand it? Did you still have loads of questions? And how do you think it ranks up with future regenerations? I love the show. Thank you for letting me send in some questions.
That is so great. Oh my goodness. First off, so what was your experience with regeneration? Did you know it was happening? Were you prepared for this? Because I think I was, because once I start a new show, I must consume everything and learn everything about it. And I knew there was like multiple doctors, so I had an idea about regeneration. So when I went back and watched this, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. That was for me, though. I watched soap operas as a child and as an adult, and I'm ready for new face in the same role.
So when I first started watching the show, it was during 10 and Donna's season. It was airing. And so I was watching the show kind of out of order and like going back and watching reruns and stuff on BBC America, which I talk about all the time. She's that girl. And so I knew that the Doctor changed faces, but I had to go back and actually watch that, knowing the Doctor as David Tennant. And so I was like, oh, this is actually quite strange. Like knowing him first and then going back and watching 9.
Yeah, it is a little weird at first. Anna, I imagine you just knew, because just culturally, are you like born and they just download some Doctor Who trivia into you?
Not quite, but yeah, I was aware. Since I was watching it like 16 and 17, I did know that what regeneration was. I think the kiss out of everything confused me the most, because I was like, hold up, isn't he supposed to die?
Yeah.
Like, isn't
and at that point, that was the second on-screen kiss for the Doctor, because the first one was the 8th Doctor in the TV movie.
Yeah.
And that was controversial as well.
Well, technically, isn't it the third kiss for the Doctor? Because Jack kisses him earlier in the episode.
That is true. Aren't we so happy that the 9th Doctor's first kiss was with a man? Yes, it could have been with somebody else. We've recasted as Gavin Creel in our minds.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love it. But y'all, what are your favorite regenerations? Because, like, I'd say the 9th Doctor is one of my favorites. I do have a least favorite, and it's like Matt Smith seemingly sneezing into another Doctor.
That was so weird.
I was gonna say Matt Smith's speech is kind of up there for me. I really like Matt Smith's
speech. It is a good speech. It's just the sneeze takes me out.
And I really like the stuff with Amy and Amelia. That stuff's great.
Yes.
I think maybe 12 into 13. I do.
It's hard to beat that one. That is my favorite, because I feel like he's been on such an emotional journey and he's so tired, but he's still choosing life. I love 12 so much.
And the excitement of seeing that Doctor turn into the first female Doctor, of course. We were all just like losing our minds.
And it does support the theory of the Doctor regenerating into a version of his companion. So like a fun little lesbian.
I was gonna say that I really I know why they brought in new companions for season 11, but the concept of Bill sticking around to watch her granddad become a hot lesbian would have been
at least bring Bill back for that and be like, peace out, granddad.
It would have been so funny.
It would have been, or just an episode where Bill comes back. This is why COVID sucks. You can't have all the extra fun episodes with more people. But no, I
Bill
still
coming
love
back,
Flux.
Bill meeting Yaz, Bill clocking Yaz's teeth.
Yeah.
I am convinced that Bill and Yaz would be best friends.
They would be.
You and half of AO3.
That is true. Shout out. Okay, so we have two really great questions. I don't even know which one to hit first. Let's go with Duck. They're asking, how would you feel if your situationship turned into David Tennant?
I would feel all right with it.
It depends on who it is. If it's
me-
Rose, I'd be okay. If it was Yaz, not so much.
Yeah.
For me, as a raging lesbian, it would much more be the Yaz situation, and I would be like, hold up, what's going on here? But I don't know, it's just such a... I can't...
Honestly, it's just such a great question.
Well, no, because it's the quote that they used on the Instagram post on Valentine's Day.
It is, like, the Instagram
so
sometimes
good.
is so funny when it comes to the Doctor. Anytime
Yeah.
it's referencing Yaz. I love the social media team loving Yaz so much.
It's great.
And then y'all,
do we want to do the other one?
y'all, this one might have to be a visual. Everyone buckle up. From Novel, the greatest question we've ever been asked. There is a visual aid to it. Let me know if I need to share screen, because you know what? I am going to share screen. I am prepared.
I have seen this.
Yes.
I know what's coming.
We never want it to be gone.
When I post this episode on socials, I'll have to include this image.
Oh, I might have to make this a social media clip. Do you think the regeneration effects were inspired by Shrek a few years prior? Visual aid from Novel. I'm just saying. And it's Princess Fiona glowing with light, like regeneration energy. And you know what? I think Russell might get a cease and desist letter at some point from DreamWorks Animation Studio.
I think it's about time we talk about it.
It's so funny. It's so good. I'd not seen it before.
It's so good. Novel, this is the best question, and I've never heard it or seen it like this before, and you're right. I rewatched a lot of Shrek movies recently when I did the Julie Andrews mixed reviews, and you're right. They stole from Shrek, and they have to answer for that.
What I'm most confused by is the fact I've been friends with Novel for ages at this point, and this has not been raised to me at any point prior to this, which I feel like it should have been.
Novel, I thought y'all were friends. I thought you were real friends.
It's so good. It's so good. And it's so stupid.
That's what we're all about on this show.
We really are about the silly and stupid.
And he regenerates into a Scottish guy.
Oh my god.
You're right.
That's true.
It's all coming together.
I'm just saying, are Fiona and Shrek Time Lords?
Ooh.
There's a case to be made. Where's far, far away?
Ooh.
Far, far away from what? Gallifrey?
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
Or maybe they're the OG. They're the original people that the Doctor was stolen from.
Are you saying the Doctor's an ogre from
Yes,
Shrek?
The Doctor is an ogre that
the Doctor is Shrek's baby.
Fell through a time hole.
The Doctor is
was
one of
picked up by
Shrek's babies.
Tatooine.
One of those cursed little babies.
That was the greatest question ever. And so, y'all, let's just run through some of this behind-the-scenes stuff. Obviously, Eccleston left because of the bad environment created by certain directors of the show and Russell T Davies and Jane Tranter's incompetence in producing. And it's a good thing that Russell and Jane never came back. There was never any issues like this again. We are not currently dealing with the ramifications of that right now. Not at all. And then this is the bit that took me out. Russell filmed an alternate ending for the press that included Rose Tyler dying to help create the surprise of Eccleston's regeneration. But RTD, he found that ending to be a bit more inferior, and by the time The Unquiet Dead aired, the BBC press office prematurely announced Eccleston's departure and the casting of David Tennant. And normally I would have loved like a surprise regeneration, something like that, but I do love ruining a man's day even more, and you just know this ruined Russell's day.
And also, I feel like for the first one, I like the fact it was kind of announced, although that's very early.
It is like
That is
episode
early.
3.
Episode 3, like, I mean, I know it was kind of considered a success by that point, but like you'd think they'd wait at least maybe until like
Empty Child or something.
episode, yeah, or like a next time trailer.
No,
But
it's like it would have been nice
it's
to have the surprise, but also ruining Russell's day is very important to me.
yeah.
And then Joe Aaron and the director, who is one that Christopher Eccleston really liked and said if he had done all the episodes, he may have stayed. He said that Lynda's death scene was his favorite of the series, which is high praise. I do like the actual horror film element of her death because that is very scary.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I hate to give Russell credit, especially in these trying times, but I do want to credit him with staging a more dynamic regeneration where we get all the regeneration energy. I do think that is a little bit more like impactful than just like the doctor laying on the ground and then turning into another person.
Hey, say what you want about Sylvester McCoy in a blonde wig.
That is so true.
Hey.
But you know what? Other things, several supporting players in this episode went on to do Big Finish audios, including Nisha Nair, Joe Joyner, Joe Stone Fewings, and Patterson Joseph. And then Patterson Joseph, who played Roderick, I'm going to call him the Titanic first class man asking for his prize money. He was a frontrunner for the 11th Doctor before they cast Matt Smith. And he's a pretty good actor, so I imagine he probably would have done a good job.
I did not know that.
I know. It was fun to research. And then both Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant are credited as Doctor Who, but from the Christmas invasion on, they will be credited as the Doctor. So that's a little fun tidbit. But most important note is, Anna, we commissioned a piece of art that you created for us to commemorate the first series of the show. What was your thought process going into creating that for us? Because I know we are lunatics.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, my thought process was I'd done like a previous poster for season 5 that you guys really liked, series 5. And so my thought was try and get as much stuff in there as I could. From like all the different episodes. And then it just kind of built and built and built. And I made the canvas too big. Way too big. I bit off way more than I could chew with it.
There's so much stuff to put on there.
There's so much stuff. What was your favorite little Easter egg? Because we're going to post this whenever this episode comes out. And then we will, it's tough. I do like Jackie's robe. the robe she's wearing
that's really
she's
good.
flirting with the doctor.
I mean, for me, like the sort of mundane stuff I like adding is like the bins there. The bin from Rose.
Yes.
Is there.
It's so
with
funny.
the like little 3 on it. I've also got, what did we have in there? Personally, one of the favorite things to draw was Jack on the spaceship at the back next to Big Ben. That was very fun.
Oh, and then
to
Lady
draw.
Cassandra, of course.
Cassandra, because Cassandra spray painted onto a garage. That was possibly because it was one of the. I was originally going to have her in, like, I knew I wanted her in there, but I was going to have her in, like, slightly differently, and it just looked really stilted. And I thought, how can I make this as cursed as possible? So I spray painted her onto a garage. And it is truly, I love it when I can come up with, like, a proper monstrosity. There's a few in there that, like, at least halfway through did look. Yeah. There's some good bits.
We love it. Thank you so much. It'll be posted on Instagram. Everyone go check it out. We'll link it in the show notes. And then, y'all, that is our finale episode. Any final thoughts before we skedaddles?
Just that this has been like such a joy to revisit, especially Christopher Eccleston and his dynamic with Billy as Rose. And just like, I really love this season. I forgot how good it was.
Same. Like, I remember like episodes. I'm like, oh, I probably just didn't like this episode then. And I rewatch it. And I'm like, actually, even for some of its faults, most of these episodes are really good. And even the stories, like even The Long Game, like that episode turned out to be one that
Yeah.
I didn't remember much of, and I leave it. I'm like, oh, this is actually a really good episode if you get rid of Adam. So there's
It is, yeah.
also, I forgot so much about Adam. Wow. But no, this show is a joy, and I'm so excited to get into series 2 because we'll see where we go and what we remember. We'll have a fun little preview of that coming soon. But companions, thank you for wandering into the TARDIS today, Anna. This was so much fun. We're going to have you back. Let's remind the listeners where they can find you and all your wonderful work.
Hi, so you can find me on most social media channels, but especially Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr under the username Thelocalgoblin, but the O in Goblin is a 0. There's link cards on there and stuff. You can find all the other stuff through one of the profiles. Thanks for having me on. It's been very, very fun. Seeing you guys creating these podcasts every week has been very fun. And yeah, it was cool to revisit this episode because I haven't in ages. So yeah, very nice.
Thank you for coming. We will find another episode for you to come on to. I know you don't like series 2 as much,
Ooh.
so we will not terrorize you. We'll be kind.
There's some episodes I don't mind. There's some episodes I quite like. But yeah, it's not my favorite. But I can come on and be like, hey,
Martha Jones is coming up soon, though. Look out.
Bring me on for Girl in the Fireplace, and we'll see what my opinions are on that episode. Probably one of my more controversial opinions.
This is going to be chaotic.
Yeah.
But y'all, thank you for listening to Across the Universe. We can be found wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure to rate and review our show 5 stars. If you leave a 5-star review, I will read it on the show. You can write anything and I will have to read it. And you can find us on Instagram, Blue Sky, Tumblr. Links are in the show notes. Or email us your questions or comments at acrosstheuniversepod@gmail.com. Paige, remind the Time Lords where else they can find you.
They can find me at Thoughts by Paige on Blue Sky. I am Hey Smithers on Tumblr. Try to think what else I'm on. I am Paige Noel Kaiser on Instagram. I am also on the My Stories Are On podcast with Chels, Jesse, and Owen. Talk about reality TV and soaps. And I also have a Substack that's called Girlhood in Low Resolution. It's about growing up as a girl on the internet in the 2000s.
And it is wonderful. And I'm Chels725 on the Blue Sky Serialized Letterbox and Chels Eichels on Instagram. And if you can find my Tumblr, you're stronger than a Dalek Emperor. You can listen to me and my fellow agent / previous companion of the show, Gavin, on the Q Division, a James Bond movie marathon podcast, wherever you listen to your shows. I can also be heard on And a Rewatch, where we watch all of our favorite shows. We're working through Karen Gillan's Selfie right now. What a joy to revisit. And then me and Paige have My Stories Are On with friends Jesse, who was just the previous guest on the Bad Wolf episode, and Owen, and we talk about all of our favorite unscripted and scripted shows. And be sure to join us for our next adventure across space and time, where we're going to preview Series 2, and maybe we will have some fun little sleepover excursion episodes where we get into some media about Doctor Who actors and other things just for funsies. It's the summer. We can do whatever we want. And then we will be jumping into Series 2, of course. But until then, we'll see you in the Time Vortex.
Bye.
Bye.